One of those college football scenes that can't be beat, as Urban Meyer has taken over this Ohio State program and is undefeated so far, 18-0, the nation's longest current win streak. And Coach Meyer right now is standing by on the field with our own Quint Kessin. Quint?
Coach, you compared this entire season to March Madness. What's it like coaching today, knowing that there's little margin for error?
Well, we're used to it, and we're facing a very good team. This is going to be a real physical game up front. Iowa's real strong on both sides of the ball, and so especially up front. So that's what this game's going to come down to.
What do you hope makes the difference for the Buckeyes?
Well, it's going to be making plays. I mean, we got to make some plays downfield. You're not going to just line up and slam it against this outfit, so we got to make some plays downfield.
Thank you, Coach. Speed could be the difference for the Buckeyes.
Well, their speed on defense will take the field first as Iowa has won the toss and Kirk Ferentz decides to go with the football. So Iowa will start on offense. Kirk Ferentz, his 15th season at the helm of the Hawkeyes, 104 wins in Iowa City, a three-time Big Ten Coach of the Year and won Big Ten championships back in 2002 and 2004. He might be on the hot seat after a 4-8 season last year, but one way to get off the hot seat pretty quickly, Rod Gilmore, is if you come up with a win like his team has a chance to garner this afternoon.
Well, yeah, you know, he told us earlier this week that he's been on the hot seat before. You know, he had the 07 season, had to come back from that. He understands what it takes and is just trying to patiently rebuild it. And he likes his team. He likes where they are and thinks that they're physical and they have a chance.
And the recipe is that physicality, isn't it? Trying to run the ball and see if you can keep Braxton Miller and that Buckeye offense on the sideline.
Absolutely. They will have to find a way to make a few more plays, but being physical and keeping the Ohio State offense on the sideline matters.
Jordan Cotton back deep to receive the kick. Averaging a little under 22 yards per return. It'll be Drew Basil to kick it off. And can the Buckeyes keep the nation's longest win streak alive? Underway in Columbus. Returnable for Cotton from the 3. He'll turn the corner and is brought down at the 20 by the kicker, Drew Basil, who was the last line of defense. So the sophomore Jake Rudock from Weston, Florida, 13 total touchdowns this season, 8 via the air, 5 on the ground. He's a pretty good dual threat quarterback, but this an atmosphere unlike he's experienced so far as a starter.
Well, that's true, and he is a mobile guy. I don't know that they really want him to run the football, though. They will run the zone read option, but I think they really want to put the ball in the hands of Mark Weisman. Rudock capable of making some plays with his feet, though.
For Rudock on first down. And flips it underneath to Jake Doozy. Sophomore to sophomore for a gain of about 5.
Rudock is a very bright young man. Very patient. Studying to become a doctor one day. Great composure on the field. Probably have that in the surgical room.
A 4.0 student majoring in microbiology and pre-med. So there's not much that's going to confuse him.
I don't think
today.
so.
Weisman on 2nd and 5. Hammers his way about 2 yards shy of a first down.
Now, Hugh, the challenge for Rudock is to find something in the passing game to complement Weisman. You want to get into the 2nd and 3rd and short situations like they have now. They don't want to be 3rd and long. So the first 2 plays have been right out of the script. Exactly what Iowa wants.
Third down and a long one close to 2, and that's Damon Bullock now in at tailback. Bullock has a first down.
We talked about having something more than just the rushing attack so you can complement it and open it up. Where do they find that? You know, they've struggled to get the ball to the wide receivers. It's been the tight ends and the running backs that have really kind of helped them, and we expect to see some of that on first down, as we did see to open the game.
Bullock out to the 33-yard line for a gain of 2. Joel Hale made the stop for the Buckeyes.
And the one thing this Ohio State defense does pretty well is defend the run.
Are you surprised that it's an up-tempo attack for Iowa, considering that they want to shorten the game? They did tell us today when we were talking with Greg Davis, their offensive coordinator, that they would run some tempo.
Yeah, I think the up-tempo is just to keep the guys from substituting, but they're not going too deep into quick into the clock.
Turning the corner is Bullock. Down the sideline, he's got another first down. Well, something has to give as Iowa's offense averages just under 208 yards on the ground against the 6th-ranked rushing defense in the nation. Well, so far, advantage Hawkeyes.
Yeah, they're big up front. 300 pounds at center, 295 at the 2 guard spots.
Play action for Rudock. Up the sideline, wide open. George Kittle, the tight end, inside the 35, down to the Buckeyes' 33-yard line.
Well, yeah, we talked about the fact that the receivers are really the tight ends and the running backs. This is just a little play action. They've run the ball well. You see the tight end to the left there, number 46, Kittle, just sneaking out behind the linebackers.
Only the 2nd catch this season for Kittle. Finds a cutback lane. And that is a very successful first down play for this offense. It's already 2nd down and medium.
2 of the 3 first down plays have been very good for Iowa. And that's kept them ahead of the chains. And they've been in a good position right now. You see the virtual field goal line already. They're already in field goal range, in position to get points out of this drive.
We were told before the game that Mike Meyer, their senior kicker, who is a career 77% kicker, feels very comfortable once the ball gets to the 28-yard line or closer. That's right where Iowa is now, 2nd down and 5. Rudock in the flat. Jake Duzey very close to another first down. He'll be marked out, it looks like, about a half-yard shy. C.J. Barnett banged him out of bounds. It'll be 3rd down and 1.
Well, the wide receivers have been a non-factor for Iowa the past few weeks. Here we go, hurry up tempo once again.
Quarterback sneak moves the pile for a first down.
Minnesota, Michigan State, they've played press coverage and taken the wide receivers away. Ohio State kind of following that pattern. And so the running backs and the tight ends are huge for Iowa, and they've been getting open so far in this ballgame.
Play of the drive, already 4 first downs for the Hawkeyes. Damon Bullock to about the 19-yard line, a gain of a couple, and Ryan Shazier, number 2 in the Big Ten, averaging 8 tackles per game, made his stop.
Yeah, he shot the gap. He was looking for that and saw the flow and attacked it right away.
Ohio State's defense this season has allowed 10 touchdowns on 18 opponent red zone opportunities. Iowa has 12 touchdowns on 25 trips into the red zone. Play action. Rudock on a rollout. Wide open, it's Duzey. Down the sideline. Inside the 6. Knocked out of bounds at the 4-yard line. 1st and goal for the Hawkeyes.
Well, right down here, no one's going to pay attention to Duzey as he sneaks out. It's just a little delay. And no one pays attention. Grant, the linebacker, kind of gave him a half look, but said, oh, you were blocking, I'm not going to worry about you. And he just sneaks on out there. Now they've got a 1st and goal.
And they put Rudock, who's 4 for 4 on the drive, in the shotgun. 2 tight ends both set to the near side right. A little bubble screen, caught, flag down. We'll have to check the penalty. Martin Manley got to about the 3-yard line.
Rudolph's pass complete to Montague.
Offside. Defense number 1. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
Well, that puts Iowa in position to get into their physical power lineup. And they've got the big fullback turned tailback in Weissman at 235.
They've got 2 fullbacks in there. Weissman, most likely the ball carrier. He's a fullback. Macon Pleva at 234, number 42. He's the fullback, and 3 tight ends. Play action. Rudak back in the end zone. It is caught. Touchdown. C.J. Fedorowicz with the game's first points. And what an opening drive for Iowa. Ball.
You know, we just saw this play a few moments ago. It's a tight end block delay. And Fedorowicz just gets into the back of the end zone. How about Rudak's patience and composure to wait for him to come free back there?
Ohio State had scored first in every game they had played this year up to now. But it's the Hawkeyes that strike first in 7-0. A 12-play, 80-yard touchdown drive. You talk about scripting those first dozen plays or so. Right on script, that entire drive for the Hawkeyes.
It was big boy football. Run it and then find your tight ends. A physical Iowa team has shown up.
You're watching ESPN College Football on ABC. Presented by Kay Jewelers.
In 25 consecutive games, this one for the touchdown that capped Rod Gilmore. An ideal opening drive for Iowa.
It was a big boy opening drive. They went to the tight ends, multiple tight end sets, 3 times. They had 3 tight ends on the field, and they used the tight end delay at least a couple of times, including that touchdown pass.
So Ohio State trailing after an opening drive for the first time this season, about to get the football for their first offensive opportunity. And a pair of dangerous weapons back to return, but no chance for Jordan Hall as he will have to take a knee. So Braxton Miller now 20-6 as a starter. He has won 16 consecutive starts. Missed nearly 3 games with a knee sprain suffered on the first series back in week 2 against San Diego State. But the last 2 games that he has been back for, Wisconsin and Northwestern, flawless. 400 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception, 151 yards combined rushing in those 2 games. And he has this offense humming as they start at their own 25. To the near side, Jeff Heuerman with his first reception. Close to a first down, a gain of 9, and normally the first quarter has belonged to the Buckeyes.
Yeah, they typically score early and often in that first quarter and dominate that first quarter. Now for Miller, one of the things that he has to clean up is ball security. He's played well, as you mentioned, but the one fly in the ointment has been putting the ball on the ground a little bit against Northwestern.
Now a false start will make it 2nd and 6.
False start. 79 offense. 5-yard penalty. Made 2nd down.
Reason for concern early for Urban Meyer. He knew this was going to be a physical football game. He had seen the way Iowa had played in recent weeks, and they had a lead where they really struggled offensively in the second half and a loss in their last game to Michigan State.
You can't get Urban to talk about the BCS. And he said, Iowa, have you seen them on tape? He was dialed in on this game.
Up the middle, breaking a tackle is Carlos Hyde. Very close to a first down. Tanner Miller made the tackle. And it looks like Hyde will be marked down right at the first down line, and that will be good enough for a Buckeye first down.
Usually, they start fast. They start well. They usually put the ball in the end zone.
Iowa shows blitz as the play clock winds down. Out on the edge to Philly Brown. He cuts back across the 40 to the 41-yard line to pick up 6. It'll be 2nd down and 4. Christian Kirksey made the tackle. And those 3 linebackers for Iowa, that really is the heart of their defense. They are 1st, 2nd, and 3rd in tackles. James Morris, Anthony Hitchens, and Kirksey.
3 seniors, but Morris is the guy that jumps out at you. He just plays so hard, goes fast all the time.
Pulls it down on the slant. Nice catch in traffic. Evan Spencer picks up the 1st down, and already the Buckeyes to midfield.
Well, the one thing that I look for with Ohio State is the deep ball, because they do such a good job running power inside. They can really take advantage down the field.
Hyde picks up about 5 more.
You know, as we watch the tapes of Wisconsin and Northwestern and how they played this team, you know, they were so concerned about Hyde and the ability to run the ball inside that Ohio State was able to take shots down the field. And Iowa wants to take away the rushing attack as well. So I assume you're going to see Braxton Miller at some point really think about taking shots.
The man in the slot left is Dontre Wilson, the true freshman. He can fly if they go that way. Instead, it's Miller on a keeper. About 1.5 yards shy of a 1st down, so it will be 3rd down and a long one. And Carl Davis, along with Dominic Alves, 2 players that jumped out at you when you were watching Iowa defensively on tape.
Yeah, Carl Davis has a really, really quick first step. He's a guy that's 6'5", 315, and if you're thinking about making yardage inside on a 3rd and short, you have to account for him. He will make a play if you don't account for him right off the bat.
3rd down and a long one, close to 2. Miller follows Hyde through the hole. There goes Braxton Miller for a 1st down. And already you can see our virtual field goal line. Ohio State has moved within field goal range.
Well, they took advantage of Davis's ability to get penetration, and he just powered inside. And just watch to the right side of the screen. The big pushback, that's Davis, 71, getting into the backfield, and that's exactly where Hyde ran with the football. They let Davis do his thing and then just ran behind him.
Miller on a straight drop back. Look out. You can't lose track of Braxton Miller. Spins down to the 15-yard line. He made Christian Kirksey miss in the open field.
Did you see the way he looked at Kirksey out there? He went, oh, wait a minute. I got a linebacker one-on-one in the open field, and you can see him just look at Kirksey and say, all right, this is you and me, buddy. Bring it. Watch him slow up here. All right, I got something for you. Oh, how about that move? I'm waiting for you. You got no shot at this.
Turn the corner is Wilson. Caught around the ankles at about the 13-yard line. Now, we anticipated that Ohio State would move the ball between the 20s. The strength for Iowa this year has been their red zone numbers, and their red zone numbers are off the charts. They are best in FBS by far.
11%.
1 red zone touchdown allowed.
11%. And no one has rushed for a touchdown on them all season long. No one. Not 1 touchdown on the ground.
Delays, nowhere to go. Does well just to get to the 10-yard line. He picked up a couple of yards, and it will be 3rd down and about 5. So a big play coming here. And we talked to Urban Meyer about those numbers you mentioned yesterday. And he said, I've never seen anything like that. 6 games into a season, a team that's allowed 1 touchdown. defensively in the red zone and has not allowed a rushing touchdown. Now, conversely, coming into today, Ohio State has 17 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, but the strength of that defense is its front seven, not the secondary. And this looks like a passing situation for Ohio State.
Play clock down to 5. Miller still over to the sideline. Urban Meyer has to call a timeout. Coach Meyer calls that timeout from the Buckeyes sideline as the play clock almost went down to 0. We'll step aside for just a moment.
Kay Jewelers. Every kiss begins with K. Chevrolet. Find new roads. And Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live Mas.
There's the national championship trophy won by the Ohio State women's rowing team this past June in Indianapolis.
And they were dominant. They didn't squeak by to win that championship. They are a dominant crewing program.
Your knowledge is unmatched, unrivaled. Big play out of the timeout, 3rd down and 4 in the red zone. Braxton Miller on a straight drop back. Batted down at the line. And the red zone dominance of the Iowa defense continues.
And he had Evan Spencer in the middle, who was looking for number 6, but he didn't quite get a chance to get it because Trinka Pusat, number 90, gets that big paw up there and knocks it down. Iowa's still intact in the red zone defensively.
So Drew Basil, perfect so far this season, 5 for 5. On for a chip shot from 27 yards away to get the Buckeyes on the board. And it's 7-3. 4 minutes to go in the first quarter. Iowa bends, but they do not break. And Braxton Miller can only produce a field goal.
This is ESPN College Football on ABC, presented by Kay Jewelers. This telecast is available in high definition. Brought to you by Vizio.
Welcome back to Columbus. Bob Wischusen alongside Rod Gilmore. Quinn Kesnick down on the field. And Trinka Pusat with the knockdown on 3rd down in the red zone. Keeps Ohio State out of the end zone. And Iowa about to get the football back as both teams put together 12-play drives to start the game offensively. But Iowa's 12-play drive results in 7. The Buckeyes only 3. Another short kick at the 5-yard line. It's Cotton. Runs into a wall at the 23-yard line as we take a look at today's impact players, brought to you by Chick-fil-A.
Well, we talked about the physical nature of this ball game. Well, Adam Cox, a fullback for Iowa, is a physical player. Damon Powell, 3rd receiver, helps him with speed. And the Ohio State defense, Joey Bosa, freshman, having a great year. Bradley Roby at corner, incredibly talented. Had a great season last year. He's a guy that's going to have to play some good coverage today. Struggled a little bit against Northwestern and Wisconsin.
Another 3 tight end look for Iowa. Their 13th play from scrimmage and the 7th time they've come out with 3 tight ends. And Weisman as the lone setback.
Big boy football.
Play clock winding down. Do they realize it? Late to react. It's down to 1. Not going to get the play off. The first play of the drive results in a delay of game unless a timeout was granted to the sideline before the flag.
Timeout has been granted to Iowa prior to the delay of game. First timeout.
So Kirk Ferentz over on the sideline got the timeout just before the play clock went to 0.
But you shouldn't have to do that.
Not on the first play.
No, you're coming onto the field. You've called your play on the sideline. You got to get lined up and do this, and you shouldn't have to blow a timeout right now.
Saturday Night Football on ABC, presented by Windows. It's the season's first matchup of 2 top 5 teams and 2 Heisman hopefuls going head-to-head as well. Jameis Winston and Taj Boyd square off. Florida State and Clemson. Number 5 heading to Death Valley to take on number 3. Saturday Night Football on ABC at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. And Vic Beasley, who we saw last week in Death Valley, make some impact plays for the Tigers.
I know everybody wants to talk about the quarterbacks. But the difference in Clemson is the defense, and Beasley is a huge part of that with the pressure he can bring.
Weisman, first down handoff. Picks up 2.5. And we go back to Robert Flores.
All right, Bob, Taco Bell studio update, staying in the Big Ten. Indiana strikes first at the Big House. Nate Sudfeld to Cody Latimer. 7-0, but Michigan has just answered with a touchdown of their own. They're tied at 7 in the Big Ten.
Indiana can put points up. They're a dangerous offensive team.
It's not easy on Saturdays, as a lot of teams found out today.
Rudock well protected. He finds Fedorowicz. It's good for a first down. And we've talked so often this season about the upsets you saw on the horizon. We've already seen 2 in the early games out of the SEC. South Carolina goes down again. Georgia goes down again. And tense moments now, late first quarter here in Columbus.
Missouri knocks off Florida to give themselves a bit of a pad in the East in the SEC. Not a lot of folks saw that, which is why what Ohio State has done week after week has been so remarkable. Tough to win every week.
Bullock up the sideline. A first down and more. Was that an adjustment as far as you could see at the line? Jake Rudock, who as a sophomore quarterback is given a lot of leeway by Iowa to make play calls, and it looks like heavy hit has Bullock down.
Well, you're absolutely right, but also their offensive line, they're getting out and cutting off these linebackers. I mean, their center, Austin Blythe, got out front, cut off a linebacker. I mean, they're doing a great job. When you can get your guards and your center on the linebackers, you're going to give some opportunities. And there's a hit to Bullock by, looks like that was Roby who got him.
On a rollout, Rudock stays perfect. In the open field, nice tackle by Duran Grant as he cut down Fedorowicz, but still a gain of 6 on first down for the Hawkeyes.
How about the approach of Iowa to basically say, you know what, we haven't really been using our wide receivers very well. We're not even going to try it. We're just going to put more tight ends out there, you know, and play big boy football.
Sean Daniels, a freshman who moves the pile for a first down. Talk about big boy football. That was a Hawkeye version of just changing the line of scrimmage for a gain of 7.
Look, there's nothing fancy about this. This is just line up with 3 tight ends and pound you. And their offensive line right now is winning up front. And Urban Meyer talked about this being a physical football game. Well, his guys have got to answer the challenge because Iowa's not backing off of it. They're coming right at him.
Play action, Rudock on a rollout. Another tight end catch and a heavy hit up top. Fedorowicz hit by Roby. There's the flag. If that's targeting, that is a first-team All-American cornerback that could be ejected for the rest of the game.
Yeah. Well, the targeting rule, remember the policy behind this. You're trying to get guys to hit lower, to stay away from hitting above the numbers.
Bradley Roby last season was a second-team All-American at corner, according to the AP and the Walter Camp Foundation. But at ESPN.com, we had him as a first-team All-American, first-team selection out of the Big Ten as well. He's got 7 career interceptions, probably the best corner that Ohio State has, and he might be gone for the rest of the game. We'll have to find out after this conference. Let's get another look.
Well, a couple of things there. I mean, you've got a defenseless guy, and then did you see him launch? He gathered himself and launched.
Personal foul. Targeting a defenseless player. The head neck area. Number 4, defense. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down. Number 4 is disqualified for the game.
Well, it's number 1, not number 4.
Is under further review.
Now they will go up to the replay booth.
Yeah.
The replay booth cannot overturn the 15-yard penalty. That will remain enforced no matter what.
Correction on the foul. Player number 1.
But what they will review now is whether or not this is a foul worthy of Bradley Roby being ejected for the rest of the game. All right, Rod Gilmore, we're going to put you in the replay booth now. What do you think?
Well, again, defenseless guy, and you had him gather and launch up high. And the idea is to get guys to get away from doing that. And you see the launch, and you see the helmet on his helmet. But the other thing is he's above the numbers. It's not strictly head-to-head. When you get above the numbers, you're in the danger zone. It's the right call. The policy is to get guys away from that. And if you hit the guy in the numbers and wrap him up, you don't get flagged there.
So a first-team All-American corner is now ejected, and the replay booth holds up the call on the field. Armani Reeves, a sophomore from Massachusetts, will now take the place of Bradley Roby for the Buckeyes defensively, and that is a major momentum shift. First of all, it's a first down at the 13-yard line, but that's one of the best players all around for either team in this game that's gone.
Absolutely, and not to mention the emotional impact on your team. Ohio State, to see one of your star players, one of your leaders, leave the game in the first quarter, I mean, that hurts the team entirely. And the fans are not happy about it, but it was the right call.
Dropped by Martin Manley. That's the first incompletion thrown by Jake Rudock, and the first time he had targeted a wide receiver. He was 8 for 8 before that, and all 8 completions had been to tight ends.
Might have had something to do with Roby going out of the ballgame, and now liking the matchup a little bit better. But they've been so good with the tight ends and the rushing attack, you wonder why they go away from that.
Play clock winding down. Iowa still has 2 timeouts. Weissman, a little delay, and he gets down to about the 10-yard line for a gain of 3. Curtis Grant made the tackle. So now a big third down coming. Third and a long 6, close to 7.
And if you're Ohio State, defensively, you have to think about the tight ends down here. You've been hurt by the tight ends on both drives. And I'm thinking zone coverage likely and figuring out where those tight ends are coming from and delays and looking for them.
Fedorowicz right now is the only tight end on the field. You can see him just on the right side of your picture there. And Damon Bullock back in for the first time since being knocked out early. On third down, Rudock under pressure, throws it away. Good red zone defense by the team in red. The Buckeyes will force a field goal attempt. Joey Bosa got pressure on Jake Rudock.
All around a very good play. Great pressure by Ohio State and a smart play by Rudock to throw it away and preserve the field goal opportunity at a reasonable position. And they're inside the 20-yard line here. You're talking about a 33-yard kick or so.
Mike Meyer from 28 to make it a touchdown lead again. Just sneaks it inside the left upright. And with 7 seconds to go in the first quarter, we'll step aside. Bradley Roby ejected, and Iowa up by 7. Quarter, the Dr. Pepper's 7-sound pass on the opening drive for Iowa. And on that last drive, he was knocked out of the game, at least briefly, by Bradley Roby. A hit that was ruled targeting by the officials on the field. A ruling that was upheld and confirmed by the replay booth. That turns into the ejection of Bradley Roby and a field goal after a 10-play scoring drive for Iowa to put them back up by 7. Jordan Hall brings it back from the 1. And That hauls all the way out close to the 25-yard line before he's brought down, actually at the 26 by Travis Perry. Well, Bradley Roby had a couple of big hits of the first quarter. The second one cost him his eligibility for the rest of the game. That was the first on Damon Bullock.
Yeah, got him helmet to helmet, probably got away with that one. And this one, I think, is the right call. I mean, he crouched, he launched against a defensive player, got him up above the numbers, and he's been ejected from the ball game. And remember, the idea is to eliminate these concussions from hits up high. Lower the target as to where you tackle.
Dontre Wilson and Carlos Hyde in the backfield, and there goes Wilson in motion. Carlos Hyde right into the teeth of the black and gold. Drew Ott made the stop after a gain of about 4, and that takes us to the end of the first quarter. Iowa with 2 long scoring drives. They've got a touchdown lead here at the Horseshoe. Ohio State 10-3. As we start the second quarter, we continue with the Dr. Pepper road to the conference championships. Urban Meyer's team with an 18-game win streak, the longest active win streak in the nation. Bob Wischusen alongside Rod Gilmore. Quinn Kesnick down on the field. But Iowa with a 12-play touchdown drive, a 10-play field goal drive, and the ejection of corner Bradley Roby after targeting was called on a hit on C.J. Fedorowicz to greatly impact the outcome of this game. As we start the second quarter, the read option, and Carlos Hyde turns the corner and gets shoved out after a gain of 3. It will be 3rd down and 2.
Well, so far this ball game has really gone the way that Iowa scripted it. They outnumber Ohio State in plays. They've had time of possession. They've picked up more yards. They've been more physical than Ohio State.
Iowa came into today number 8 in the country and number 1 in the Big Ten in time of possession. And they dominated the clock in the first quarter, 3rd down and 3. Braxton Miller, well protected, fires a strike to the sideline for a first down to Devin Smith.
Where Ohio State has a huge advantage, it's with speed, and speed on the edge. And here comes Wilson, Dontre Wilson, back on the field. I think they really want to get into the mode of trying to take advantage of that speed advantage, getting Wilson and others involved on the edge.
Urban Meyer said that they want to turn Dontre Wilson into a football player. Right now, they feel like he's a novelty, a hood ornament of sorts. Braxton Miller off the play-action fake. Wide open, Philly Brown! Inside the pylon for the Buckeye touchdown!
It's the play action that pulled the safeties up, and then behind him goes Brown. Now, did he get into the end zone? From that angle, it certainly looks so.
We're now tied at 10. And, Ron, we talked about Dontre Wilson. Urban Meyer may have called him a novelty or a hood ornament. Well, it was enough to draw the attention of Iowa on the play-action fake.
Yeah, he certainly did. And Corey Brown showed his speed getting behind the defense. And the long ball is back for Ohio State.
Welcome back to ESPN College Football on ABC, presented by Kay Jewelers.
Braxton Miller finding Corey Philly Brown, a 58-yard touchdown, the longest reception of Corey Brown's career. And that's a player that Urban Meyer said has had as big a turnaround as any player he can remember at any of his stops as a head coach. There was a time when Urban Meyer first took the job, they were hoping that Philly Brown might just move on and leave the program, but he spent his entire summer catching balls last year. A total attitude turnaround. And what a momentum shift that play was as it ties the game. A return chance here for Cotton. Out to the 31-yard line, so pretty good field position for Iowa. And let's go back to the touchdown.
Well, Ohio State got Iowa looking at the wrong thing. Here is Wilson, and then they have the play action. That's going to draw the attention of the safeties. They're looking at the wrong thing. They're thinking play action. Uh-oh, they're thinking Wilson, but guess what? There's Brown. Look where the safety is. Look where this safety is. No one's paying any attention to the main guy. They're thinking about the speedy guy that they've seen and heard about all week, and they're thinking about the play action. And instead, Brown runs right down the middle of the field.
So the quick strike for Ohio State gets the game tied at 10. This is the third possession offensively for Iowa, and their first two, they have physically just marched down the field on the Ohio State defense. Play clock down to 2. Did they realize it? They have to call timeout again from the sideline. And they tried to call timeout, but the offense got the play off. Shazier brings down Weissman after a gain of 5 as we check in with Quint Kesnick.
Secondary really at a disadvantage right now in terms of the numbers. Keep in mind, Christian Bryant broke an ankle, out for the season, the leader of the group. Now Bradley Roby ejected. We're going to put a lot of pressure on Armani Reeves, corner number 26, only a sophomore. And behind that, there's a lot of youth.
Just at the bottom of your picture is Armani Reeves. They'll run the other way, though, with Weissman. And the former fullback turned tailback picks up a first down.
Well, as Quint mentioned, there's Bryant on the sideline. The question for Iowa is, can they take advantage of that lack of depth and that inexperience in the secondary by throwing the football? Maybe not, but what they can do is force those young guys to get involved in the run game and try to be physical, which they may not be up to handling.
The leading tackler for Ohio State, Ryan Shazier, now wears number 2 to honor Christian Bryant, lost for the season. On a rollout, another wide open flip. This time it's the fullback, Aiken Pleva, and he has another Iowa first down. And the misdirection with Rudock has worked to perfection so far for the Hawkeyes.
As much as we want to talk about Iowa's rushing attack, it's been the short passes to the tight end and the fullback that has really made this offense go today. It's been Rudock and the flip, Rudock and the short throw, Rudock and the tight end delay.
3 tight ends again on first down for the Hawkeyes. Damon Bullock popped at the 40, but he picks up 4 yards. Shazier combines with Armani Reeves on the tackle for Ohio State.
You get the sense the crowd is just a little bit uneasy.
Well, they know what's on the line. It's the point that Quint Kesnick made earlier with Urban Meyer. He told us the story yesterday when he was the head coach at Florida, that he was sitting around having a beer with Billy Donovan, and they were just talking about the different experiences that each has had coaching their teams. And after this play, we'll tell you the contrast between college basketball and college football as Rudock floats one to the sideline and throws it away. But Billy Donovan said to Urban Meyer, the time of year that I hate is coming, and that's March.
March Madness.
It's March Madness. I have to win. You can't lose in March. It's win or go home. And so Urban Meyer looks at Billy Donovan and says, are you kidding me? We play March Madness the whole year. And Billy Donovan supposedly looked back at Urban Meyer and says, wow, I never really thought about it like that
way, yeah.
So when it's college football, it's constantly win or go home. And Ohio State has forced third down at 6. Rudock well protected. Underneath, finds Doozy. And it looks like he's got the first down by a yard.
Another tight end. Another short pass. Give some credit to Greg Davis, the offensive coordinator for Iowa. really kind of revamping things for this week and going heavy. 3 tight ends. Not so much use of the fullback, but making this a big boy game, a big physical fight.
Rudolph, pressure coming. He escapes and picks up about 2 yards. What could have been a sack. Noah Spence had a chance to bring him down and missed. And it's time now for our Aflac trivia question. Aflac. Speaking of Urban Meyer, he's won 18 straight games as the head coach of Ohio State. What was the last game that Urban Meyer lost as a head coach?
I have a guess, but I'm going to think about it for a minute.
2nd down and 8. Rudolph, long throw to the sideline, incomplete, looking for Cavante Martin-Manley. And again, that's an incompletion intended for a tight end, or intended for a wide receiver. He's been basically perfect to the fullbacks and tight ends.
Yeah. Has not been very effective going to the wide receivers, but here you see where they are. On 3rd and long, they haven't been really very effective, and that's because you haven't gotten a lot of wide receivers involved that can help you.
Wide receiver screen on 3rd down. It's the 1st down and more. It looks like a cut down was Damon Powell, but not before he picked up the 1st down. C.J. Barnett, did he close fast on Damon Powell? Looked like Powell might get the sideline and score.
Well, Powell took one of those tunnel screens, 74 yards for a touchdown earlier this year. And he was just so close from breaking that one. Watch the good blocking he gets from his tight end, from his right tackle, but for the great closing speed and tackle by Barnett, he would have been gone.
Still a 3rd down conversion, though, and the first completion by Jake Rudolph to a wide receiver. Back to the 3 tight end look, just outside the red zone. To the 16-yard line goes the freshman LaShawn Daniels as we go back to Robert Flores.
Hey, Bob, Dr. Pepper 10 conference update in the Big 12 on ESPN. Oklahoma down 13-0 to Kansas. James Sims the touchdown run, but the point after is no good. OU lost to Texas last week, now trailing in Lawrence.
Highly ranked teams that have either lost or in trouble all over college football. Daniels ran out of room. So another 3rd down coming for Iowa.
But it's the kind of 3rd down that Iowa has really handled very well this season. 3rd and short, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3.
The Hawkeyes are 4 of 5 on 3rd down so far in the first half. Another double-digit play drive, their 3rd already. Play clock down to 3. Have to call timeout from the sideline again. Rudolph called the timeout as well just before the play clock went to zeros.
Iowa.
But Kirk Ferentz is getting a workout. He's doing 40-yard dashes on the sideline trying to call timeout before the penalty flag flies.
Brought to you by Nissan, premier partner of the Heisman Trophy, and Aflac, official partner of the Heisman Trophy.
Aaron Kraft and the rest of the OSU men's basketball team getting set for the season. A new $19 million basketball practice facility open here at Ohio State. We open up after this timeout with 3rd down and 2 for Iowa. 8.5 minutes to go before halftime, trying to keep another double-digit play drive alive. They'll keep it on the ground with Weissman. And it looks like he has muscled his way for another 1st down as Shazier couldn't stand him up just shy of the 11-yard line.
You got 235 pounds of a powerful man determined to pick up the 1 yard. And you see the way he just blew into Shazier. He got Shazier on his back. I mean, that is powerful football.
Well, Greg Davis, the offensive coordinator for the Hawkeyes, told us that Weisman's a bulldozer. He's one of those guys where if you get the run game going, he's better in the second half than he is sometimes in the first half, and sometimes better in the fourth quarter than he was in the third quarter.
2 tight ends in the ball game into the short field.
Weisman again. Lowers his head and gets to the 6-yard line.
You see, when they put those 2 tight ends to the short side of the field, Ohio State has to adjust and move guys over there. And then they can run back to the weak side, to the wide field, where they have an advantage in blocking. And you see Iowa has just controlled the line of scrimmage today. Look at the long drives. 80 yards, 67, 63.
Ohio State has had the ball 6.5 minutes so far. On this drive, Iowa will go over 16 minutes time of possession. Play action. Rudock on a rollout. Dropping the football is the tight end Jake Ducey. And it will be 3rd down from the 6-yard line. 3rd and about 5.
Well, that has been one of the big plays for Iowa. Tight end on a delay route.
This play off as well. Rudock realizes it. Floats one in the back of the end zone. Wide open. Cavante Martin Manley for the Hawkeye touchdown.
Talk about toughness. Rudock just hung in there and took a shot on that 15-play drive.
Rod, if you could find the perfect marriage between an offensive game plan against a specific opponent and then that offense going out and executing that game plan, we've probably seen that from Iowa so far in the first half.
You got it. Go be physical, beat guys up, and Iowa's doing it right now.
A 15-play touchdown drive, the longest scoring drive by an opponent against Ohio State this season, just flawlessly executed by Iowa. And they're up by a touchdown once again. Bob Wischusen alongside Rod Gilmore, Quinn Kesnick down on the field. And Rod, time of possession now 16 minutes and 7 seconds for Iowa, only 6:32 for Ohio State.
They've done exactly what they wanted to do. Control the clock, be physical, run the football, and throw the short passes.
Andre Wilson takes a knee. And let's go back to the touchdown.
Well, Ohio State's playing a little bit of in-and-out coverage, kind of a zone coverage here. But what happens is Martin Manley starts inside and goes outside. And that kind of confuses them a bit. And Grant jumps the inside route, and there's no one in the back outside corner. So Martin Manley is free there.
So now how do the Buckeyes respond offensively? Their last possession barely over a minute, and it was a big touchdown catch by Philly Brown. About a 2.5-yard gain to Hireman. Gang tackled at the 28-yard line. We go down to Quinn.
Bob, 2 points after that touchdown, Ohio State defensive coordinator Luke Fickell saying, guys, when they're bunch, we're zone. Second thing he mentioned, he talked about the checks, and so often how Rudock is checking at the line of scrimmage. He then said, guys, we have to check out of what we're in. So there's a little chess game going on at the line of scrimmage. Last thing to note, C.J. Barnett, safety, all over his teammates. He said, look up at the scoreboard, guys. We've given up 17 points.
Well, Braxton Miller picks up a first down, and it's an Ohio State defense that coming into today was only giving up 19.2 points per game. Good for 24th best in the country. So they're normally a team that's top 20 in the defense, if not top 10 in defensive statistics points against. They've already allowed 17 here in the first half.
Remember, Quint talked about Christian Bryant earlier being out. A tremendous leader on that defense, and Ohio State missing that, and that's an issue for them.
Miller, high over the middle. Corey Brown pulls it down for a gain of 8. He was hit hard by John Loudermilk. And the crowd responding as they are bitter about the fact that their best defensive back, Bradley Roby, was kicked out earlier on a targeting call. Right up the middle goes Carlos Hyde. That's another Buckeye first down to the Iowa 46.
Tempo for Ohio State now, trying to move it quickly and catch Iowa.
8-yard gain to Iowa 46. Ohio State football, first and 10.
Hyde again. Finds a cutback route. Carlos Hyde powers his way inside the 30. Down to the 29.
Who said he can't make guys miss? You know, that offensive line is really good. The center, Corey Linsley, does a great job up front. Watch him clear out a hole. And then you have Hyde finishing this off, making a couple of guys, including Kirksey, miss.
A gain of 17 for Carlos Hyde, who was so emotional after the win over Northwestern and his second half performance in particular. 3 touchdowns in the win after sitting out the first 3 games of the year because of suspension. Braxton Miller off the fake. Under some pressure. He will be sacked. James Morris in the top 13 in Iowa history in tackles. The senior comes through and gets his second sack this season.
Yeah, Morris just goes full speed all the time, and this tackle, this sack, pushes Ohio State out of field goal range. Now they are behind the virtual field goal line, and they'll need to pick up a lot of yards to get back in there.
James Morris only grew up 10 miles away from Iowa City. His dad, Greg, has been the longtime equipment manager for the Hawkeyes, so he grew up in black and gold and ends up as their Mike linebacker and leader on defense. Braxton Miller wide open underneath Evan Spencer down to the 26-yard line and sets up a manageable third down at about 7. E.J. Lowry on the stop.
And 3rd and 7, that's typically when you get pressure from the Iowa defense. Ohio State will probably anticipate that they will get pressure and act accordingly. Quarterback draw. Try and think screenplays. Think in terms of getting the single coverage.
Only a 4-man rush, but the stunt works. Braxton Miller avoiding the sack. Scrambles, but he can only buy himself so much time before he is swallowed up by Carl Davis.
Only a 4-man rush, but nobody was open. Miller couldn't find anyone, and that created the issue.
And now on 4th down and 10 after the sack, at least for the moment, Urban Meyer's got his offense out there. They might go for it rather than try the long field goal. And now a timeout will be called, and the Buckeyes will talk over the decision with 3:14 to go before halftime. And Iowa, right now, shocking the horseshoe.
You're watching ESPN College Football on ABC, presented by Kay Jewelers.
As we come back to Columbus, looks like Coach Meyer has opted to send the field goal unit out. As we answer our Aflac trivia question, Urban Meyer has now won 18 in a row as the head coach at Ohio State. When was the last time he lost a game as a head coach? Obviously not with the Buckeyes, had to be with the Gators.
Yeah, I figured that.
And to close out the season in Tallahassee, Thanksgiving weekend of 2010.
You never let me guess. I was going to guess that.
I trust your ability. And now it turns out the offense is back on the field. They pulled the kicking group off. Maybe a little decoy there. And Braxton Miller is back in on 4th down and 10, in spite of the fact that they're inside what they told us would be their acceptable field goal range. Braxton Miller in the pocket, buying time. Still extending the play. Look at Braxton Miller, and there's no one home. A flag down in the secondary as Braxton Miller with another flag thrown runs inside the 10-yard line. 2 flags were thrown at 2 completely different times during that play.
The last flag was a block in the back by Brown against Ohio State. But Braxton Miller bought an awful lot of time there. Don't know about the first flag, but these two might offset.
Two fouls on the play. Holding. Defense number 14. Illegal block in the back. Offense number 10. Those penalties offset. 4th down.
The shame of it for Urban Meyer's team is that Braxton Miller already had the first down by the time that Brown committed the penalty.
Did not need the block at all. And a great play by Braxton Miller to pick up the first down. And Brown, trying to help, went too far.
Let's take a look at the end of the play and see if we can pick up the Philly Brown penalty. Watch number 10 at the bottom of your screen.
Yeah, right in the middle of your screen. He goes and takes a hit on behind on Miller, number 5. Wasn't even necessary.
So now we'll replay 4th down and 10 all over again. And the Buckeyes stay with their strategy. They'll go for it. And here's Braxton Miller. He's looking end zone in a double coverage. Is it pulled down? Incomplete. Evan Spencer, as he was sandwiched with John Loudermilk getting a hand in, he may have just yarded free.
Great play by Loudermilk. He goes up to the ball at the highest point and makes the play because Spencer has a shot at it. Look at Loudermilk get up there and make that play. That's range that you want from your safety.
John Loudermilk is the son of Kirk Loudermilk, who was a longtime NFL offensive lineman. Of course, his dad played right here at Ohio State, was the center for the Buckeyes before going on to the NFL. And the last time that these two teams played a dramatic game in 2009, Ohio State beat Iowa in overtime, and Loudermilk rushed the field as a Buckeye fan. Trying to pull that one in is Damon Bullock. And Bullock, with an extra hit out of bounds, crashes into the Buckeye sideline. It will be 2nd down and 10.
Now, Loudermilk rushed the field when he was in high school. Now, do you tell all the Iowa folks about that?
I don't know. He was a big Buckeye fan growing up, as his dad, of course, played in Columbus. And he was wearing scarlet and gray as he ran on the field to celebrate an Ohio State win 4 years ago. Now he's wearing the black and gold, playing in the game.
He got rid of all of his Ohio State swag, though.
Quick hitch to Tavon Smith. And let's go back to Robert Flores.
All right, Bob, staying in the Big Ten. Michigan's Fitz Toussaint, 2nd touchdown run of the day. Michigan has scored 21 unanswered points to lead Indiana 21-7 at home. Bob.
Robert, we've got a big 3rd down and 7 here. And Iowa will bleed the clock down as far as they possibly can. The Buckeyes with only 1 timeout left as we're about to go under 2 minutes in the first half. Rudolph, 4-man rush. Throws one right to the first down marker. It is caught by Damon Powell. It just depends on where they spot the football. And it looks like they might place it just past the first down line without measurement. They say first down Iowa.
Wow. You know, it's interesting because the Iowa receivers really don't have the speed to run by Ohio State, yet the Ohio State defenders seem to be giving them a lot of cushion. I would expect them to be a little bit more aggressive, even in their zone coverage.
Rudock, that one's dropped. It would have only been about a 2-yard gain. But what has been a huge factor so far, Rod, in the first half, 3rd down conversions. Iowa is now 7 of 8 on third down in the first half. Now, coming into today, Ohio State was 4th in the country in opponent third down conversions defensively. They'd only allowed 25% on third down before today.
Rudock and the short passes to the tight ends have made a big difference.
Draw play. There goes Bullock. Bullock in the open field. Flag down.
Holding. Offense number 11. 10-yard penalty. Spot of the foul. Made second down.
So the junior wide receiver, Cavante Martin Manley, wipes away what would have been a 14-yard gain as we take a look at our Pacific Life game summary.
It has been a tremendous game for Rudock so far, 14 of 21. And as you mentioned, Bob, an awful lot of that on third down. Roby ejected for targeting in the first quarter. And Iowa being very physical up front, running the football very well.
Rudock wants the deep one up the seam, and it's incomplete. C.J. Fedorowicz, the intended receiver. It will be third down and 10. And can the Buckeyes finally get off the field on third down?
Well, that depends on their ability to protect that first down marker. The receivers for Iowa really aren't capable of running behind them, running by them. So you would expect them to overplay the first down marker and take away that intermediate pass.
This is a big play. If Ohio State can get the stop, they certainly, with a timeout, would have time to score before halftime as they would get the football back.
They're showing man coverage right now.
Play clock at 5. Rudock, quarterback draw. He'll try and run for it. He won't come anywhere near picking up a first down. So the Buckeyes finally get the third down stop. And let's see if they call their final timeout, or will they allow the clock to wind all the way down? Urban Meyer may save the timeout for his offense. And Iowa can take the clock well down under a minute.
As they should. Urban and company made the judgment that they would prefer to have that timeout on offense instead of stopping the clock there.
The first time in the game that Ohio State has forced Iowa to punt.
And no one's back to return the punt.
And a flag comes out on the punt attempt. And this will roll all the way down to the 4-yard line. Ohio State will be called for a penalty as they ran into Connor Cornbath, the punter.
And it might be of the 15-yard variety.
It looks like they may just call running into the kicker.
Running into the kicker. 26 defense. Penalties decline. Play results in a touchback.
Armani Reeves was the guilty party, but it's a 54-yard punt. Kirk Ferentz says we downed the ball at the 4-yard line. That's just fine with me. Let's not kick it again.
Yeah, only a 5-yard penalty wasn't going to help Iowa. And if you are Ohio State, probably just want to take a knee and take this one into halftime and regroup.
The chase for the Sprint Cup meets the big one at Talladega. With only 5 races left, Matt Kenseth and Jimmy Johnson are still out in front. But anything can happen at NASCAR's most unpredictable track. The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Talladega, presented by 5 Hour Energy, tomorrow at 1 on ESPN.
That is a tough track. There is not a safe spot on that track. You're right, anything can happen there.
And Rod, you called it. Ohio State not taking any chances inside their own 5-yard line, even with the timeout. The Buckeyes will start the third quarter with the football, but they will head to the locker room trailing Iowa by a touchdown at halftime. What a first half for the Hawkeyes as we go down to Quinn.
Coming across.
Coach, what was the single key development in that first half?
I don't think there's any single thing. You know, they had a big play on us. Our guys are playing hard. It's both teams are really competing well.
How do you best describe your ability on third down?
You know, the guys are doing a good job. The guys are just working hard, and Jake's playing well, so we just got to keep pushing here.
Yeah, how often has he been able to check into the right play, Coach?
He's doing a great job there, and that's something we try to put on our quarterbacks. He's doing a really nice job for us.
Thanks, Coach. Bob.
All right, Quint, thanks very much. So our score at halftime, upset alert in Columbus. Iowa leads the Buckeyes by a touchdown. We'll head to the studio and our halftime report in just a moment. Stay with us. And ABC college football just about set for the start of the second half between Iowa and number 4 Ohio State here at the Horseshoe. They flawlessly executed offensive game plan in the first half for Iowa. Braxton Miller made a couple of big plays, but it's a touchdown lead. Devontae Martin-Manley with that score has Urban Meyer's team on the ropes as we head to the second half here at Ohio Stadium. The Buckeyes trail by 7 to Iowa, 17-10. Bob Wischusen here with Rod Gilmore. Quinn Kesnick down on the field. And Rod, we talked about this going away at halftime. The perfect marriage of game plan, drawing it up on the dry erase board, and having your team go out and execute it offensively. That was Iowa in the first 30 minutes.
Yeah, Iowa's controlled it, and they've been incredibly efficient on offense. The tight ends, the short passing has really been the deal. I mean, Rudock has done everything at quarterback, and it's been the short passing game to his tight ends to pick up first downs on third down. Got one to his outside receiver, Powell, to get a big first down. And then when he needed the big plays, goes back outside to his tight end, Fedorowicz, for one score, and then Martin-Manley for another one in the back of the end zone. So it's the efficient offense that has been just perfect for Iowa in this ball game.
No negative plays in the first half for Iowa. No tackles for loss for Ohio State. No sacks. No losses in the run game for the Hawkeyes.
Well, and most importantly for Ohio State, they only had 25 plays in the first half. You got to have the football more than that if you're Ohio State and going to put some points up.
Dontre Wilson starts the second half with the ball for the Buckeyes, and he's bumped out of bounds near the 25-yard line as we take a look at our Pacific Life game summary. The clock was owned in the first half by Iowa.
Yeah, absolutely. You look at the rushing yards. Iowa's run the football well, total yards. But look at the plays. 43 plays to 25 and 18 minutes on the clock for Iowa. They played keep away.
Ohio State thinking national championship if they can run the table and possibly get to the BCS title game. First play of the second half to Carlos Hyde. And he bulldozes for 12 yards and a first down behind Jeff Hireman as we check in with Quinn.
We are getting beat up front. That's the message that Urban Meyer passed along to me. He said on both sides of the ball, but specifically defensively, which has led to a lot of third and shorts. He said, right now we just can't get off the field on defense. I asked him what will change on offense. He said, we got to operate in space, utilize our speed, spread the field a little, and make Iowa cover sideline to sideline.
Well, they start off with big boy football. The first two plays from scrimmage in the second half, and Desmond King came up and brought down Carlos Hyde that time after a gain of 3. So it will be 2nd down and 7. But Quint, reflecting what Urban Meyer said, Rod is right. The athletes have not had a chance to display their athleticism yet for the Buckeyes.
Well, they have a speed advantage. We talked about that at the beginning of the show, but they haven't had the football. I mean, that's been the big issue.
Braxton Miller underneath, wide open. That's Devin Smith. That's another Ohio State first down.
You'll see them spread it out more, as Quint mentioned, try to get their athletes out there and let that speed take over this ball game. This game has been fought in a phone booth, and that is not the way that Ohio State wants to play this game.
Now it's Dontre Wilson and Carlos Hyde both in the backfield, flanking Miller. There's the swing pass. Wilson, electric in space. Very close to a first down. Bumped out by Loudermilk. About 1.5 yards shy. It will be 3rd down and 1.
But notice the difference.
Or check that, 2nd down and 1, pardon me.
Notice the difference in play selection, just as Quint talked about. Getting their guys in space, working the edges. Miller, 10 of 12 now.
Miller on the keeper. Hands races up the middle. He's thrown down by Anthony Hitchens, but not before. Another Ohio State first down.
And the more they start to have success attacking the perimeter, running the football, the better chance Ohio State has to take advantage of the deep ball and work those safeties like they did with the one touchdown pass in the first half.
Now we see Braxton Miller in the pistol with Jordan Hall as the tailback. Play action. Miller, long throw to the sideline. Coming back to make the catch and brought down about 4 yards shy of the first down is Evan Spencer. But again, 5, 6, 7, 8 yards in a chunk on first down for Ohio State on this drive.
And again, working the edges, spreading things out.
And off to Hall. And he moves the pile and scoots through traffic for what looks to be a Buckeye first down. Let's see where they spot the football. Louis Trinca-Passat tripped him up, and he actually is going to be a half-yard shy. It'll be third down and about a foot.
Have you heard the clap? You hear when Braxton Miller claps out there?
Normally, that is a signal to let the offensive line know he's ready for the football, but today when he's clapped, it's been an instant snap of the football from Corey Linsley, and a third down conversion for Jordan Hall, easily done. Still, though, this is where Iowa's defense has been at their best this season. It was what Urban Meyer told us in our meetings. He's never seen red zone numbers like this for a defense through 6 games.
Well, and they still haven't given up a rushing touchdown this season.
And only 1 red zone touchdown. Miller. Not much there on first down this time. It'll be second down at about 7 from the 12.
They may not be the fastest defense in college football, but they are very active, and they diagnose plays quickly. Morris gets in on everything. And when you have less space down here, they are more effective. They don't have to cover as much ground, and they can diagnose things quickly and get after you.
The 10th play of this drive coming up for Ohio State, but in this compacted area of the field, can the Buckeyes take advantage of their athletic advantage? Trying to turn the corner is Wilson. Stays in bounds. Where did he step out? Right at the first down marker, at the 5. Actually at the 4. First and goal for the Buckeyes.
Great run by Wilson. This thing was strung out, but the little dip he gave inside allowed him to get to the edge. And that's just pure speed at the end to get him there.
He actually stepped out of bounds shy of the first down marker, but the officials gave him a great spot. Let's see if that gets reviewed. Anthony Hitchens also injured on the play. So the leading tackler for Iowa on defense is down. But let's take another look on where he steps out at about the 6. And the officials put the ball at the 4.
Yeah.
So they missed that spot by at least 2 yards. And instead of first and goal at the 4.
The previous play is under review.
And now they're going to check and see if they got the spot right. Last year, Anthony Hitchens led the Big Ten, averaging over 11 tackles per game. He is number 2 in the Big Ten, just under 10 tackles per game this season. Kirk Ferentz told us, though, that he has made a major leap from last year to this year, saying that last season a lot of his tackles were 4 and 5 yards further downfield than they should have been. This season, as a senior, his experience is really paying off. He's making a lot more plays around the line of scrimmage.
Agreed. And that group he fits in there with, those senior linebackers, they are all playing that way.
It looks like he's pointing to his right shoulder. So as the replay review goes on, looks like already we have a decision.
Following the review, it's been determined the runner was short of the line to gain. The ball will be placed at the 6-yard line. 3rd and 1. 3rd and 1. Clock operator, 10:42 on the game clock. 10:42.
Well, that's pretty clear right there. See the left foot of Wilson out at the 6-yard line. And the replay booth got that correct. So now you have that 3rd and short. And they've got options. The way they've run the ball and the way they spread them out down here, Miller can do something. But remember, no rushing touchdown allowed so far by Iowa this season.
3rd and 1. Anthony Hitchens not on the field for Iowa. Carlos Hyde. He's got the first down. He ends up right where Dontre Wilson was, at least originally marked, to the 4-yard line. So it is 1st and goal as Ohio State looks to possibly put the first rushing touchdown this season on the Iowa defense. Braxton Miller at the goal line. Inside the pylon, no. Stepping out just shy was Hireman. Wow. B.J. Lowry came up and saved the touchdown. He's at the 1, and now Ohio State wants to go
Super
with tempo. Braxton Miller already with his team set. High into a wall of tacklers. Is he stood up? No! It is a Buckeye touchdown. The first rushing touchdown of the season against the Iowa defense pulls Ohio State within a point.
Watch the effort by Hyde. He gets hit by Kirksey as Kirksey goes airborne over the top. But Hyde, with all of that, 235 pounds, managed to break the plane.
We are now tied at 17. If Carlos Hyde broke the plane, he broke it by an inch. It was just good enough. And a 13-play touchdown drive to open up the second half for the Buckeyes, as it's 17 all.
This is ESPN College Football on ABC, presented by Kay Jewelers. This telecast is available in high definition. Brought to you by Vizio.
A great day in Columbus. A sea of red here at the Horseshoe. And the Buckeyes on a Carlos Hyde touchdown run. His 4th touchdown run this season, the 26th of his career, has tied things up. It's now 17 all. Carlos Hyde was suspended the first 3 games of the season, got into an altercation over the summer in an off-campus bar with a woman. No charges were filed, but that didn't matter to Urban Meyer. He still felt he needed to send a message and suspended him for the first 3 games. Now the Hawkeyes will start at their own 25-yard line. And Carlos Hyde was really emotional after the win at Northwestern 2 weeks ago.
Well, Urban Meyer has a core value, a hardcore rule about violence to women and respecting women. And Hyde violated that, even though charges weren't brought. But the great news out of that is that Urban says he's learned the lesson from that. He's grown from it, and he gets it now.
Now the question, can Iowa keep their momentum going offensively as they control the line of scrimmage and the clock in the first half? Weissman, plenty of room on the cutback, another first down for Iowa. As we go back to Robert Flores again.
Hey, Bob, this is the #1 play tonight on SportsCenter's Top 10. Cody Whitfield. One-handed touchdown catch. Wow. Stanford leading UCLA 10-3 at home.
That is Bob Whitfield's son, Cody Whitfield. Bob Whitfield, longtime NFL offensive lineman. That's his son making that helmet sticker kind of catch.
That was an incredible catch. And now, what could be an impactful injury for the Ohio State defense is Michael Bennett. First in the Big Ten in fumbles forced. And he is now slowly walking off, replaced by Tommy Shutt. Now, Shutt was out the first 6 games of the season. He has returned for the first time this year for today's game. So that's some depth on the defensive line for the Buckeyes that they hadn't had. He'll be in there alongside Joel Hale. But a 12-yard gain on the first play of this drive for Iowa. Another hard run across the 40. Email Markham out at the 41-yard line behind the right tackle Brett Van Sloten for a gain of 4 more.
They got to the edge because Van Sloten did a great job of hooking and giving them the edge. This offensive line has been tremendous.
For the most part in the first half, we saw 3 tight end formations. Now a double tight end set with Damon Bullock in as the lone setback on 2nd down and 6. And the play clock down under 10 again. Bullock again finds a cutback lane. And again, he's got an Iowa first down.
It is up front. They're doing a great job. That time the left guard, Bofelli, with a great block. Watch the left side. Look at him invite the defensive lineman upfield and then do a great job of sealing it off.
Iowa averaging over 5 yards per carry. Bullock on a stretch play left. And runs out of room after a gain of 1 to the 49. Good job by Joshua Perry to stretch that play out and bring down Bullock.
Well, the Ohio State speed is just really not going to let them get to the edge too much. And they've had more success running inside. I mean, they're too good on the edge, too fast with guys like Perry and Shazier.
Low throw incomplete. It's intended for Tavon Smith. Now it's 3rd down and 9.
And Iowa has not traditionally been very good in these 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10 situations this season.
The sophomore Jake Rudock in the shotgun. 3-man rush. Knocked away. Duran Grant, terrific coverage. Ohio State gets the stop at midfield, and for the 2nd time today, they force Iowa to punt.
We talked about it in the first half. They were playing too far off. They couldn't run by you. No need to worry about it. Grant jumps all over this route by Powell.
Brown is back deep to receive just inside the 15-yard line. And it's on Connor Kornbrath to try and change field position. Brown from the 16. The first man miss. Heading south instead of north and gets brought down at the 16. So a 34-yard punt, no return. Ohio State football when we come back, looking to take the lead.
Presented by Kay Jewelers. Brought to you by the new Windows. Ford. Only Ford gives you EcoBoost fuel economy and a whole lot more. And Pacific Life. For insurance, annuities, and investments, choose Pacific Life. The power to help you succeed.
They might wear scarlet and gray, but the Ohio State band, they're green. Because they saw all the paper waste that they created mapping out their weekly performances. So 2 students came up with the idea of putting all their field formations and sheet music on iPads. And actually created straps to carry them over their shoulder.
It's very cool.
That's how they rehearsed. Carlos Hyde on 1st down, up the middle. Hammers his way out to the 22-yard line, a gain of 6 in college football primetime. Presented by Hampton Hotels at 7 tonight. 2 battles in the SEC on ESPN. Number 1 Alabama led by A.J. McCarron taking on Arkansas. And then number 6 LSU and Ole Miss doing battle as well on ESPN and ESPN2 tonight at 7.
LSU and Alabama eyeing each other down the line for a matchup that might very well determine the best team in the SEC.
Anthony Hitchens back in the game defensively for Iowa. 3rd down and 1 after that run by Carlos Hyde. Braxton Miller, he'll get it himself. spins out to the 31. Christian Kirksey tripped him up, but that's a 3rd down conversion for the Buckeyes.
And folks who are Ohio State fans in the Big Ten also look at the SEC, because Alabama, LSU will collide at some point. And a one-loss team out of the SEC, if Alabama should lose, could still be a threat to Ohio State if Ohio State's undefeated.
Five-man rush. Braxton Miller well protected. Long throw to Harmon. He makes a move. Upfield across the 45, close to the 47. Another Buckeye first down.
Starting to find a rhythm. Braxton Miller runs it. They give him some room to throw. You're starting to get a sense that the rhythm to this offense is coming back. Remember, first half, only 25 plays. Hard to get a rhythm with 25 plays.
Leans into another bullet throw. This one to Devin Smith. And a gain of 8. Already Braxton Miller off to a hot start. 6 for 6 here in the second half.
I think Braxton Miller is underrated as a passer. He's got a really gifted arm. He can fire it. He can probably throw it 70 yards in the air. And his mechanics are a lot better than people realize.
Well, Tom Herman, the offensive coordinator, told us just that. Said that Braxton Miller has the strongest arm and the smoothest delivery of any kid he's ever coached, and that those fundamentals get lost in his athleticism because we make such a big deal about the different plays he can make with his feet.
Absolutely.
As well as with his arm. Miller, with his feet, makes another play.
Yeah, and this is what mesmerizes you about Braxton Miller. His feet, his ability to run, his athleticism. He can make guys miss. He can make this happen. Look, he makes a safety, Loudermilk, miss that tackle in tight space. And we forget about the fact that he can really deliver the ball, particularly the deep ball. He throws it really, really well.
Another strong throw outside the numbers to Devin Smith. And that's a gain of 8 more. DJ Lowry came up and made the tackle, but it'll be second down on a long 2.
Get the feeling right now. This offense is much like a pitcher in baseball that's got every pitch working. Go off speed, go fastball.
Speaking of going fast, they do just that. Wide receiver hitch to Evan Spencer. And he has another Ohio State first down. And an injury for Iowa defensively. Louis Trinka-Passat is down. Ohio State in a tremendous rhythm offensively, and Trinka-Passat, part of the strength of that front four, looked like he was holding his left ankle.
He's played a great game, and he actually has deflected a pass and done a great job. And this Ohio State offense has been cruising so far this third quarter.
ESPN College Football on ABC, presented by Kay Jewelers.
Welcome back to Columbus. 2 weeks ago, a big scare was put into Ohio State by Northwestern. Iowa doing much the same today, tied at 17. As the 4th-ranked Buckeyes, though, were a completely different team offensively in the second half against Northwestern than they were in the first half. The same true today. Already the Buckeyes with more first downs in the third quarter than they had in the first half. And on this drive, Braxton Miller trying to keep it going. He'll scramble again. Protects the ball and gets to about the 17-yard line, 3 yards shy of another first down. Darian Cooper, who just came on, replacing Louis Trinka-Passat for Iowa on that defensive line, made the tackle.
This offense had 189 yards in the first half. They have more than 140 in the third quarter. They're starting to find that rhythm.
Well, they only scored one first-half touchdown against Northwestern 2 weeks ago, and it was on a blocked punt recovery. But then Carlos Hyde took over the second half. He'll carry one here. very close to another Buckeye first down. Needed to get to the 14, and that is right where they'll spot the football. Mike Hardy made the tackle, but without measurement, they say first down Buckeyes.
But, you know, shoot, it has not been easy down here for Ohio State. This Iowa defense is tough in the red zone. That last touchdown they scored, they barely got in.
Well, their recipe for success defensively today was they knew they were going to give up yards between the 20s, but played good red zone defense. To start the third quarter, the Buckeyes got in the end zone. Can they do it again? A little hitch to Devin Smith. He gets a block inside the pylon for Ohio State. Touchdown.
Credit Braxton Miller for that one. He saw them overload the box to take away the run and just adjusted to throw the quick hitch.
2 double-digit play drive touchdowns to start the third quarter for Ohio State. We'll step aside for less than a minute and come right back to Columbus. Devin Smith's 16th career touchdown gives Ohio State the lead.
You have a gift. Why not show the world?
ABC Tuesday, creating a hero.
One dose and you'll feel incredible.
Means playing with fire.
Now let's see what you can do.
And one of their own.
Since the moment you stepped foot on this plane, you've been lying.
Will be branded a traitor.
I'm done with you.
Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. All new Tuesday at 8, 7 Central on ABC. And see the season from the beginning on Watch ABC Online or download the app.
Please don't do this. I'm from the future.
This just became my favorite case.
Is their suspect a killer out of his mind?
You don't think any of this could be real?
Or a hero out of time?
If I am not there to stop it, we are all dead.
Where is he?
Not where. When?
Castle. All new. Monday, 10, 9 Central on ABC.
With Ohio 17, we continue the Dr. Pepper road to the conference championships. And not only does Ohio State have their eye on a Big Ten title, if they remain undefeated, they think they've got a great chance to play in the BCS championship game and go for a national title. And that may turn out to be true, as Ohio State may become, Rod Gilmore, if they are an undefeated team at the end of the season, a very debatable team as to whether or not they ought to be in the BCS title game, depending on what else shakes down.
It depends.
The ACC champion, the SEC has a lot to happen before the end of the year. But if you're going to be a big championship team, and we saw this last week with Clemson, you have to survive tests. And Boston College last week put a huge scare into Clemson the week before Clemson plays Florida State. And now we see Iowa putting a scare into Ohio State. Can't win all your games without having a few that are really tough survival tests.
Just survive and advance. And don't forget, it is possible we could have a Pac-12 undefeated team, an ACC, and a Big Ten.
On first down with Iowa, now trailing for the first time. A flag down as he picks up 6.
Holding 63 offense, 10-yard penalty.
Only the second penalty of the day called against Iowa, but it's a big one. And speaking of a big one, how about Saturday Night Football on ABC, presented by Windows? Number 3 against number 5 in Death Valley. Jameis Winston and Florida State against Taj Boyd and Clemson. Saturday Night Football on ABC begins at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific tonight.
If there's a better collection of receivers on two teams on one field at the same time, I want to see it, because those two teams have 5 of the best receivers in college football.
Michael Bennett back in the game. defensive front. Down the sideline. In stride. Jake Duzey ahead of the coverage. The tight end goes the distance. And Iowa strikes back.
It's a two tight end formation, and it's a problem that Ohio State's had all day. Dealing with the tight end out of the backfield, recognizing and picking him up. Duzey in that tight end formation over there, two of them just snuck out around. Nobody picked him up, and he's behind him.
And Armani Reeves was the player in coverage trying to track down Duzey. He's the sophomore that replaced Bradley Roby, who was ejected on the targeting penalty in the first half.
Young player, watch what he does here. He's looking in the backfield, and Duzey runs right by him, doesn't pick him up. He's not picked up at all. And again, you go back to the ejection of Roby in the first quarter, and it turns out it hurts them here in the third quarter, late third quarter.
Jake Duzey now has 5 catches for 116 yards. He came into today with 47 career yards receiving.
The tight ends, I can't recall seeing anything quite like this, a transformation with a team that has gone almost exclusively to their tight ends, and they have just been working Ohio State today. 2 tight end sets, 3 tight end sets, and Ohio State has not been able to handle it.
Jake Duzey with the touchdown on a play that was just that. An 85-yard touchdown pass to the sophomore tight end, the longest play from scrimmage offensively for Iowa this season. And instead of 4 yards and a cloud of dust for the Hawkeyes, it's the quick strike, and we're tied at 24. Ohio State already giving up 5 more points today than they average allowing per game this season. Wilson will take a knee. The chase for the Sprint Cup beats the big one at the Talladega Super Speedway. Only 5 races left. Matt Kenseth and Jimmy Johnson still out in front, but anything can happen at the most unpredictable track in NASCAR. The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Talladega, presented by 5 Hour Energy, tomorrow at 1 Eastern on ESPN.
Not betting against Jimmy. Not betting against JJ.
Braxton Miller in a 24-24 tie. He'll go to the air on first down. And he finds his tight end that's bobbled and dropped. Jeff Hireman turned to look upfield before he had complete control, and it's 2nd down and 10.
Wide open. Got in between the linebackers and had a lot of room. And watch him in the middle of your screen. Lots of room. Just started thinking about getting up the field.
That's the first incompletion of the second half for Braxton Miller. He was 9 for 9 in the third quarter before that drop. Louis Trinca-Passat has returned on the defensive line for Iowa. Carlos Hyde right up the middle. Met by Anthony Hitchens and Carl Davis. A gain of 5, but sets up a very big play here. 3rd down and 5 for Ohio State at their own 30.
That offensive line for Ohio State has done a nice job. That right side, Marcus Hall and the like. Now on 3rd down, can they hold up? This is typically 3rd 5, 3rd and 7. When you get pressure from Iowa, will that offensive line pick up the pressure should they bring it?
Four-man rush. Braxton Miller intercepted with a flag down. B.J. Lowry has the interception, but it looks as if that might be a penalty called against the corner for Iowa. He jumped the route, but the flag came out almost immediately.
Holding. Defense number 19. 10-yard penalty. Automatic. First down.
take a look at Lowry in single coverage here. He's got his hands on him, wraps him up pretty good, and Brown falls down because of that.
A no doubt about it call. So B.J. Lowry, who was normally put on an island by Phil Parker, the defensive coordinator for Iowa, their best corner. This time he comes on a run blitz and gets blown up. And that allows Dontre Wilson to weave his way to the 47-yard line and pick up 7 yards.
He just ran out of the tackle of Drew Ott. Ott had him, but Wilson, not incredibly big, but was able to pull out from under Ott's big hands.
He gets up with a limp, though, so Dontre Wilson at least temporarily out of the game. 2nd down and 3. State first down in plus territory. Desmond King tripped him up, but the Buckeyes move the chains again.
They actually have the Iowa defense kind of on the ropes now. I mean, they're pitching it outside, pitching it inside, pounding them. Miller's running it. And that Iowa defense hasn't had a lot of time to be on the sideline and catch their breath. Tempo.
Right now, Ohio State is struggling with Iowa. 4 of the other top 6 teams in the nation on our air tonight. Hyde, a 1-yard gain to the 47-yard line. Tanner Miller came up to make the tackle. That might take us to the end of the 3rd quarter. Let's see if Ohio State tries to go up tempo and get one more snap off before we go to the 4th. Down to 10 seconds to go in the 3rd. Braxton Miller trying to get his team set. Might get the play off. 2nd down and 9. One more play before the end of the 3rd. Braxton Miller with a bullet to the sideline and a flag down. Devin Smith made the catch. Did he push off?
It looked that way from up here.
Looks like the officials may call it against Iowa.
Holding, defense, that penalty's declined. Resulted a play as the first down. Quarter ended on that play.
And another great throw by Braxton Miller. Bullets one to the sideline, and Rod Gilmore, we head to the 4th quarter. Tied at 24. 15 minutes left as Ohio State trying to keep their national championship hopes alive.
Oh, it is still a serious ball game. Can Ohio State hold on? We've seen some other teams go down. Will Ohio State?
As we start the 4th quarter, Bob Wischusen, Rod Gilmore, and Quint Kesnick bringing you Iowa taking on Ohio State. The Buckeyes number 4 in the nation on the eve of the first BCS standings being released. And the longest win streak in the nation at 18 in a row on the line. Urban Meyer has never lost as the head coach at Ohio State. His offense has been smoothly moving in the 2nd half. Here's Braxton Miller looking for the home run ball for Brown. Out of bounds.
Missed him. He had him. He had him. He just missed him. But you talked about this offense finding its rhythm. Take a look at this. I mean, they had 25 plays in the first half, 31 in the 3rd quarter. And that helped the defense stay off the field. So starting to get that rhythm for Ohio State.
2nd down and 10. Braxton Miller bottled up after a gain of 3. Drew Ott first there for the Hawkeyes. So now a very important play coming. 3rd down and 7. Just inside the Iowa 28-yard line.
So you're saying they are virtually in field goal range.
Very nice. Not virtually. They are in field goal range, but for Iowa, holding this offense to a field goal would be a win defensively. As Ohio State has scored 2 touchdowns in the 2nd half. Braxton Miller, well protected. Buying himself even more time. Look at him extend the play, and he's got room to run. And blockers out in front. A picket fence. Can he get to the sideline? And it looks like he's got the first down and does. What a play by Braxton.
is Johnny Football or something? I mean, as he rolls right, nothing's open. There's double coverage on the outside receivers, and the tight end isn't free. And so he comes back around. Everybody's been blocked off. This is just a great individual effort to pick up the first down. And you know how frustrating that is for a defense?
Braxton Miller now has 79 yards rushing, and it looks as if, for the most part today, Iowa has not deployed a spy on Miller defensively.
Yeah, well, that defense is winded right now.
Makes his way inside the 10. Goes backwards, now forwards, reaches, pylon. What a run by Carlos Hyde! How did he stay on his feet?
Oh my goodness. He runs through 3 tackles and then goes Superman. Oh, wow.
Carlos Hyde took the game over at Northwestern 2 weeks ago. Now he's got 2 touchdowns in the second half against Iowa. And it's the Buckeyes on top by a score once again. That was some kind of run by Carlos Hyde, and number 4's got the lead back.
You're watching ESPN College Football on ABC, presented by Kay Jewelers.
Carlos Hyde and Braxton Miller. What a combination, especially in the open field. Hyde now with 98 yards and 2 touchdowns, both of his touchdowns in the second half. And Braxton Miller has thrown for 210 and run for 79. And Ohio State, unstoppable on offense in the second half so far, has the lead back 31-24.
Speed. Ohio State has used its speed in the second half.
Jordan Cotton from the 1. Runs into his own man about the 18-yard line.
Shoot, you talk about athleticism and speed. That drive was about 2 incredibly athletic plays. On a 3rd down, Braxton Miller uses his athleticism to make this play. Guys are covered. If you had a spy out there, he's better than a spy. He would make this play happen anyway. And then you come right back when that defensive line is winded, and Hyde does the incredible. Great balance, great feet, acceleration, and Superman into the end zone.
To the 3 tight end look for Iowa that was so successful for them offensively in the first half. And Mark Weisman at tailback. Rudock to throw though on first down. At the sideline, well behind Jake Ducey, and he took a hit. Ryan Shazier came with a blitz up the middle, and Rudock was slammed as he let go of the ball.
Yeah, he's taking some shots, but there he is right now. Watch his blitz. Here comes Shazier. Nobody picks him up. And Rudock gets a hello.
Rudock finds Ducey. He's got a first down and more. There goes Ducey again, all the way out to the 41-yard line. As we quickly go back to Robert Flores.
All right, Bob. Texas A&M and Auburn are tied after Nick Marshall connects with Sammy Coates. Late 3rd quarter in College Station, number 24 and number 7 tied at 24.
And we have a great one here in Columbus. Iowa trying to answer again as they trail by a touchdown. Bob Wischusen here with Rob Gilmore and Quinn Kesnick at the Horseshoe. The freshman LaShawn Daniels. And that might be the first negative rushing play of the day for Iowa.
Well, Ohio State caught on to that formation. 2 tight ends into the short field. And where they were formerly outnumbered, they adjusted.
Michael Bennett and Joel Hale combined on the tackle for loss. The sun peeks through for the first time today. Second down and long. Long throw. Scooped up at the 45-yard line for a gain of 5. First catch of the day for Don Shumpert. Corey Pitt-Brown came up to make the tackle. And it sets up 3rd down and 6.
Well, you think about the Iowa tight ends, and you think about this crowd.
Only a 3-man rush. Rudock should have been intercepted. He threw it right to Duran Grant, and Grant might have had a pick 6 if he held on. Instead, Iowa will get to punt the ball away, but they almost got scored on by the Ohio State defense.
Might have. This was definitely a pick 6. Grant jumps it. Ball's thrown in between 2 receivers, and Grant holds on to that. He's dancing in the end zone.
So Connor Cornbrath will try and pin the Buckeyes deep if he can. A wobbly kick, fair catch was called for, but it takes a sideways hop and an Ohio State hop at that. So Cornbrath does not change field position. And Urban Meyer's team with an 18-game win streak on the line. The nation's longest win streak has ridden the roller coaster today. But his team's got a 7-point lead and the football here at home.
Ball presented by Kay Jewelers. Kay Jewelers, the #1 jewelry store in America. Every kiss begins with Kay. And Safeco Insurance. Find a local agent at safeco.com. Do more.
Homecoming weekend in Columbus. The homecoming parade has been an annual tradition since 1965 at Ohio State. And Urban Meyer's team back to the offense. They have been dominant here in the second half. 3 double-digit touchdown drives since halftime. And Iowa get a stop. They have yet to force Ohio State to punt today. Right up the middle goes Hyde. 6 yards on first down.
And this is where Hyde can be really effective. Remember that last series when you had all these guys running around, Miller and Hyde, tiring out that defensive line. Now you've got the hammer in Hyde. You can pound him on this defense that has to be worn out. They've been on the field an awful lot this second half.
That puts Carlos Hyde over 100 yards. 104 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. Both scores in the second half. And they stay with the workhorse. Just shy of the first down. Anthony Hitchens was there to make the tackle for Iowa. But it'll be 3rd down and 1. A complete reversal in terms of offensive plays run in the second half by the Buckeyes.
And that's what's helped the entire Ohio State team. The defense has benefited from that offense coming alive as well, controlling the ball.
3rd down and 1. Miller to throw. He's got a first down. Ironman steps out of bounds. All the way out close to the 45-yard line, actually the 46-yard line of the Buckeyes.
This is still Hyde's time. 4th quarter, your big 235-pound back. He gets stronger as the game goes on. They have him on the sideline right now, but he's the guy that can keep pounding the rock for you.
Swings one, wide open Jordan Hall. But he has stood up a gain of about a yard. John Loudermilk was there to make the tackle. They'll give him forward progress for a gain of 2 as we take a look at today's good hands play brought to you by Allstate.
Well, nothing like Hyde making this play, making some guys miss, keeping his balance, hanging on to the football, diving into the end zone. That's a fantastic play.
it's been 5 years, a game against Youngstown State, since Ohio State played without having to punt for an entire game. They haven't punted yet today. There's Braxton Miller, bottled up, no gain on second down. Well, here is Iowa's chance. As we're under 9 minutes to go, they trail by a touchdown. If they can finally get a stop on third down and force Ohio State to punt it away.
Well, Hyde has had his rest now, so he comes back on the field. He and Miller have been critical on third down plays.
Perfect so far in the second half for the Buckeyes. 5 for 5 on third down. Five-man rush. Braxton Miller gets loose. There he goes again. Just when the Hawkeyes think they've bottled up Braxton Miller, Louis Trinket-Fassac can't make the tackle.
And as a former defensive player, I can tell you this is so demoralizing. You get them to third and long, you make good plays down the field, you have good coverage, and then you look up and see the quarterback running to pick up the first down. That is so demoralizing for defense.
Braxton Miller now with 91 yards rushing, and that lack of a spy by the Iowa defense,
trust me,
again hurts them.
He'd beat the spy. There's no spy that's as athletic as he is.
Carlos Hyde turns the corner, gets a block. There he goes. All the way down to the 11.
Good blocking on the edge. Harmon, the tight end, 86. And Evan Spencer down the field. Watch him take out the safety, Loudermilk, and that opens up the alley.
The Buckeyes right back in the red zone. Swing pass, Jordan Hall. And he goes down after a gain of 1 to the 11-yard line.
Iowa can't give up a touchdown here. They don't strike quickly enough to give up a 2-touchdown lead this late.
Hyde up the middle, and again Iowa forces third down. James Morris makes the tackle. If Ohio State kicks a field goal, it would be a 2-possession game, but you think much more doable for Iowa with 6 minutes to go to come from 10 down than come from 2 touchdowns down.
Yeah, I think Urban Meyer would like to have the 14-point lead, and he trusts Braxton Miller so much. I imagine he wants the ball in his hands right now.
Miller rolls out, cuts it back. They can't track him down. Flips it across his body. Incomplete. Carl Davis finally got enough of his hands on Braxton Miller to force a misfire, and it will be a field goal attempt for Drew Basil, and the first red zone stop here in the second half for Iowa. Only a 25-yard attempt for Drew Basil, who is 6 for 6 so far this season. Made his only attempt in the first half out of the hold of Kenny Guyton. Guyton spots it, and Basil is 2 for 2, and it's a 2-possession lead for Ohio State with 5:50 to go. Braxton Miller has been flawless in the second half. Guyton just about muffed the snap, but was able to get the placement down for Drew Basil. And it's a 2-possession lead for Ohio State. Kenny Guyton, the backup quarterback, who threw 13 touchdowns against only 2 interceptions in the 3 games that he was in place of Braxton Miller when Miller went down with the knee sprain in week 2. And he is such an incredible leader. As a senior and a backup quarterback, he received the 3rd most votes on the team to be a captain in spite of never having started for Ohio State. Urban Meyer wants to hire him as a coach.
Yeah, he is so impressed with him. He's trying to convince him that that's his future as a coach.
Well, it's time now to take a look at our Pacific Life game summary. And Urban Meyer knows how much fun it is to coach a quarterback when the quarterback can hurt you in so many ways.
Well, 2 things in the second half. Braxton Miller and Carlos Hyde. Miller made play after play, extending plays, picking up key first downs on 3rd and long situations. And then Hyde became the bulldozer, getting into the end zone on 1 touchdown. And then the run of the day. Hey, he ran through 3 tackles, lost his balance, regained it, dives into the end zone. He's had a phenomenal second half. Those 2 superstars came to life for Ohio State exactly when they needed it.
Does this take Iowa out of their offensive game plan as well? Down 2 scores with 5:50 to go. They have 3 timeouts, but now they're in a spread look. And Rudock will throw. Under pressure. Hit as he throws, and it's incomplete.
Yeah,
this is not the comfort zone for the Hawkeyes.
No, I don't know that they can win on the outside with their guys. They aren't good enough, quick enough, fast enough to win like this. You need 2 scores. You got to get the first score. So even if you have to be methodical to go down and get it, you got to go get that first score any way you can. Because you're no good to do something you're uncomfortable with and get nothing out of it.
Draw play on 2nd and 10. And it's a gain of about 6 for Damon Bullock.
They still need to get their tight ends back involved, pick up first downs, the kind of thing we saw them do in the first half. Move the chains. Maybe this drive takes you 3 minutes to get a touchdown if you do it that way, or a field goal, but you have to get the first score if you're Iowa.
They have to get a first down just to keep it alive. Rudock has a first down connection out to the 37-yard line. Tavon Smith makes the catch, and just for the moment that stops the clock with 5:10 to go.
Let's see if they go back to some of the things that worked for them. Theodorowicz packs.
Rudock. Again the pocket collapsed as we go back to Robert Flores.
Hey, Bob, Michigan is getting tested by Indiana at home. Devin Gardner, however, gives the Wolverines a little breathing room, but pays for it, draws the personal foul, gets the touchdown. Wolverines up 9 early 4th quarter.
Well, a very similar story here in Columbus as Ohio State being tested. They're up 10. Under 5 minutes to go. Rudock. Don Shumpert makes the catch, 4 yards shy of the first down, and that will keep the clock rolling as Armani Reeves came up to make the tackle, and it forces Iowa into another 3rd down and 4.
Well, 3rd down, 4th down, whatever it takes if you're Iowa, 2 downs to get it.
Rudock. Intercepted. The freshman Tyvis Powell comes up with the pick. The first turnover of the day might salt it away for Ohio State.
He forced one. Rudock did. The only mistake he's really made today, and Ohio State coming up with a big defensive play. It's not easy to win every week. You just have to survive.
This is ESPN College Football on ABC, presented by Kay Jewelers. Tonight, the Florida State Seminoles will enter Death Valley in an epic showdown under the lights to take on the Clemson Tigers with ACC and BCS title implications on the line. Florida State, Clemson, tonight, 8 Eastern on ABC.
That will be an amazing atmosphere. Can't wait to watch it. And it looks like Ohio State is going to survive against Iowa, as the Buckeyes finally took control of this game in the second half. Here's Carlos Hyde with Iowa selling out to stop the run. The Hawkeyes have all 3 timeouts remaining, but they're down 2 possessions, and now they'll spend 1 timeout here.
Well, you have to use them. You have to use them as soon as possible to have any chance of getting the ball back. And even if you get it back, you're going to have to hurry. I mean, 2 scores is what you're talking about.
We're going to see the BCS standings for the first time this weekend. Now, if anticipated tonight, we get the result you would think from Alabama. You'll have Alabama, Oregon, and almost certainly the winner of Florida State Clemson ahead of Ohio State. With what Ohio State is facing today and what they have the rest of the way in the Big Ten, if they play close games, will they be penalized, or do you give them credit for gutting out a win, which is what any team has to do if they're going to run the table and be an undefeated group? You can't win every game by 50.
I don't think it matters for Ohio State with their schedule. I mean, the Big Ten and its schedule is so lowly regarded by most folks that whether you win by 21 or win by 10 isn't going to matter.
On second down. Is 3 yards shy of a first down. Kirk Ferentz immediately spends timeout number 2.
And Ohio State, undefeated, is likely to be behind the ACC undefeated team and the Pac-12 undefeated team, clearly the SEC undefeated team.
As things stand right now. Now, we've got teams that are playing tonight that certainly could impact Ohio State's future, namely Alabama and LSU. As college football primetime presented by Hampton Hotels kicks off at 7 with 2 battles in the SEC on ESPN. Arkansas taking on #1 Alabama and A.J. McCarron. And Bo Wallace and Ole Miss will try and pull the upset against Zach Mettenberger and #6 LSU. College football primetime on ESPN and ESPN2 beginning at 7.
Now, back to Ohio State. We have a long way to go.
Yes.
We're not going to end up with 4 or 5 undefeated teams. Not going to happen. We're more than likely to have 1 or maybe 2.
Well, we have this conversation every year, round about this time of the year. What happens if all these different teams go undefeated? Yeah. It never works out that way. There are always upsets. And if you're Ohio State, you take care of business and count on those undefeated teams that are ahead of you in the polls losing. The last chance you'd think for Iowa, 3rd down run by Braxton Miller, and he's got the first down. 4 minutes to go, and Iowa, having spent their timeouts on this series of downs, now they're down to 1 timeout left.
Very excellent game plan by Iowa. Physical, used their tight ends, ran the ball, took this game into the 4th quarter. But in the end, Ohio State, too much Braxton Miller, too much Carlos Hyde, too much offense in the second half.
Carlos Hyde working hard for 3 more yards up the middle. And now Kirk Ferentz will let the clock wind down and most likely save his timeout to be called maybe after this play or after the 3rd down play. But having spent his 2 timeouts on 1st and 2nd down to begin this drive, you can't give up the 3rd down conversion.
What did Urban Meyer tell us and tell Quint about surviving March Madness? How tough that is, and that he has March Madness every week.
Hyde gets caught on a run blitz by James Morris and fights his way for a yard. It will be 3rd down and long. Well, Auburn in 2004 in the BCS era is the only major conference team to go undefeated and be left out of the BCS title game. So it just lends credence to, as we said, we always have this conversation about, well, what happens if these 5 different teams either go undefeated or if LSU is a 1-loss team, runs the table in the SEC. There are always those surprising results. So you have to think if Ohio State takes care of business, they'll have a great chance to be in the championship game.
Let's not stress people out. There's a long way to go. It will work itself out. You know, it always does.
Braxton Miller lost the football. A turnover possible. John Loudermilk knocked it away, but Ohio State recovers. For those of you that are just joining us, the reason that there is an anxious look on the face of Urban Meyer is because with his team just trying to run out the clock, Braxton Miller just coughed the football up.
Yeah, it looked like he got it kicked out of his arm from behind. And remember, Miller put the ball on the ground a couple times in their last ball game against Northwestern, and that was a point of emphasis for him to protect the football.
And now he can smile, as with his team up by 10. And now the officials are going to have to stop the clock, at least just for the moment. Now they're just going to reset the play clock. Bob Wischusen here with Rod Gilmore and Quinn Kesnick in Columbus, where Ohio State is going to survive, as they will now be able to take a knee against Iowa and end what will be a 10-point win to keep their national championship and Big Ten title hopes alive, and extend the nation's longest win streak to 19 games. And as we take a look at our top 10 poll in the AP, Ohio State there at number 4, but of course Clemson and Florida State playing tonight. One of those teams will get an enormous win and stay undefeated, and most likely either Clemson stay ahead of Ohio State or Florida State maybe jump up.
Well, and Texas A&M is in a dogfight. Louisville lost last night. UCLA lost to Stanford. I mean, we're seeing every week you can't just automatically pencil in a win. It is hard to go undefeated. It's hard to be focused and win every week, and we've seen it today. And for Ohio State to simply survive and advance another week, 19 weeks in a row now, fantastic for them. Crazy, unbelievable that you can be that dialed in. And they got pushed today.
They got pushed, but their offense in the second half took the game over. And that combination, now that and we saw it in the second half against Northwestern, the combination of Braxton Miller and Carlos Hyde, when the train is on the tracks, this is a tough offense to stop.
Well, it was all about the speed and athleticism of Ohio State. They went to that in the second half. They got the ball. In the first half, they only had 25 plays. But they had the ball in the second half, and they used their speed. They attacked the edges, and then after they got tired of doing that, they brought Hyde in to just pound them inside.
The first 4 possessions of the second half for Ohio State on offense: touchdown, 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 field goal. Yeah. And they are going to end the day, it looks like, without having to punt. So for the first time in 5 years since a game against Youngstown State, Urban Meyer can finally take the headset off and celebrate a bit with his team. They will be punt-free and will survive a strong test from Iowa, the physical game that Urban Meyer predicted. Kirk Ferentz's team fought valiantly, but the Buckeyes keep the nation's longest win streak alive and extend it to 19 in a row.
Ohio State fans can thank Braxton Miller for the incredible second half that he had.
Let's head down to Quinn.
Good luck.
What was the turning point at halftime, Coach?
What's that?
What was the turning point at halftime?
Turning point at halftime. I don't know. I just think we played better on the defensive line and offensive line. I think we ran the ball for 275 against an excellent rushing defense. So I think the turn was when we started blocking them better up front and getting off blocks on defense.
How do you best describe Braxton's ability to improvise?
Yeah, he's good. You know, they started playing man underneath coverage on us, and that's pretty good pass defense, but you don't have a man for the quarterback. So he did a pretty good job getting the first downs for us.
You told us March Madness in October, survive and advance. What's your reaction?
Yeah, good. We got a big one next week, but we're going to enjoy this win, and it's one right after the other.
One down, yes. Penn State next week. Congratulations.
All right, Quint, congratulations, certainly in order. A terrific effort in the second half by Ohio State, as they have now won 19 in a row. They remain undefeated at 7-0 in the 4th spot in the polls. 34-24 the final here at the Horseshoe. Ohio State wins it over Iowa. Let's go back to the studio for our post-game report.